The topic of 50 Cent and his late mother, Sabrina Jackson, has remained sensitive in hip-hop for more than 4 decades, and it recently resurfaced after KingHarris, the 21-year-old son of T.I. and Tiny, posted a video telling 50 Cent to dig up his deceased mother and post a picture of her grave, sparking widespread discussion online. To understand how things escalated to that point, you have to look at the beginning of the conflict between 50 Cent and T.I., which traces back to a potential versus battle that never happened. In a clip shared by Gilly the Kid from an upcoming episode of $1 Million Worth of Game, T.I. explained that he had lost respect for 50 Cent because of how the situation unfolded. Versus, a popular platform where two artists go head-to-head by playing their music catalogs, especially popular during and after the pandemic, had reportedly been discussed between the two rappers as a way to celebrate their careers. According to T.I., the idea wasn't random. He says the two had already talked about it privately while performing shows together in Los Angeles, and even agreed that T.I. would bring up the battle publicly first, after which 50 would respond. However, when T.I. did mention the idea publicly, he claims 50 Cent acted confused and behaved as if the conversation had never happened. That reaction, according to T.I., made him feel disrespected because it appeared as though 50 had backed out while pretending the discussion never existed. As the frustration grew, T.I. began speaking more openly about the situation, saying he no longer wanted to share a stage with 50 and that he had lost respect for him. He even went further in comments online, accusing 50 Cent of being a rat and claiming he had paperwork to prove it, writing that only one of them had real allegations tied to their name and challenging 50 to either step into the versus ring or stop talking altogether. After saying 50 Cent had lost his respect, T.I. escalated the situation by calling him soft, claiming he had paperwork, and accusing him of being a rat, which in hip-hop culture is one of the most serious accusations a person can make. He didn't keep it private either. He posted the claim publicly in a comment section, which is when the tension between them really began to escalate. The disagreement had originally started when T.I. accused 50 Cent of avoiding the versus battle they had supposedly discussed, but instead of agreeing to the showdown, 50 responded the way he often does when dealing with conflict, through trolling. Rather than releasing a diss track or jumping on live streams to argue, 50 leaned into memes, jokes, and sarcastic posts, turning the situation into a punchline, which is a strategy he has used throughout his career. However, one particular post pushed things into a much more personal territory. The tension intensified when 50 Cent shared an unflattering photo of T.I.'s wife, KingHarris, along with a caption warning T.I. to keep his name out of his mouth. That post quickly caught attention online and didn't take long to reach T.I.'s son, KingHarris. What had been a typical rap feud suddenly became a family matter, because bringing someone's wife or mother into a public dispute changes the dynamic entirely. KingHarris, the 21-year-old eldest child of T.I. and Tiny, grew up in the public eye through the family's reality shows and has been building his own reputation as a rapper, often making it clear that he fiercely defends his family. So when 50 posted the image of Tiny, King immediately responded. In the comments section under the post, where 50 had written, "I keep saying keep my name out your mouth," King fired back that he was ready for war and ready to get messy, while also referencing 50's mother, marking the first direct shot from King and signaling that the feud was about to move beyond music and into something far more personal. After responding in the comments section, KingHarris took the situation further by posting on his Instagram stories, where he blasted 50 Cent for trolling his mother, KingHarris, with an unflattering photo. In a lengthy video rant recorded from what appeared to be inside a car, King brought up 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, who died in 1983, and the tone of the feud quickly became much more personal. Speaking directly to the camera, King urged 50 to post a picture of his mother and repeatedly told him to go visit her grave and put flowers on it, while also questioning how 50 and others online were raised and insisting that his own upbringing taught him not to tolerate disrespect toward his mother. The video was not a brief response, but an extended rant in which King continued doubling down, even telling 50 to dig up his mother and post a picture of her body, comments that immediately shocked viewers and spread rapidly across social media. He also defended Tiny by calling her a legend, referencing her career with the group Escape and her Grammy achievements. But he did not stop there. King later posted photos on his Instagram story that appeared to show a headstone with the name Sabrina Jackson, writing captions that directly mocked 50 and referencing the grave itself. The posts included images of the tombstone along with other material aimed at attacking 50, such as court footage from a past case and a photo involving one of the rapper's sons. By sharing what appeared to be an actual gravesite and linking it to his insults, King moved beyond simply mentioning 50's mother in an argument and instead used imagery connected to her death, which many viewers felt crossed a serious line. For many people watching the situation unfold online, this moment marked the point where the feud shifted from harsh trolling to something far more controversial. While some acknowledged that 50 had started the escalation by posting the photo of Tiny and mocking T.I., the internet. To understand why KingHarris's words hit so hard, you have to understand who Sabrina Jackson was and what her death meant to 50 Cent, because this is not just a casual mention of someone's deceased parent. It is tied to a deeply painful and defining part of his life. Curtis Jackson, later known as 50 Cent, was born on July 6, 1975, to his 15-year-old single mother, Sabrina Jackson, and grew up in South Jamaica, Queens, a neighborhood heavily affected by drugs and crime during the height of the crack era. Sabrina was raising him on her own and refused to rely on welfare or low-wage jobs, choosing instead to sell drugs in order to provide for her son. According to 50 Cent in past interviews, including one with Spin, she believed she had to do whatever it took to take care of him, and she became a well-known figure in the local street economy on Old South Road, where she gained both money and a reputation that made people respect and fear her. In a Guardian interview, 50 once explained that the first images of wealth he saw as a child, Cadillacs, expensive jewelry, and flashy lifestyles, came from the people connected to his mother's world, which shaped his early understanding of success. At the same time, Sabrina played the role of both mother and father in his life, acting as his protector, provider, and disciplinarian. 50 later told Page 6 that she was extremely tough and often pushed him not to show weakness or emotion, lessons that would later influence the hardened public persona he developed. However, everything changed in 1983 when Sabrina Jackson died under suspicious circumstances that authorities believed to be a homicide, marking a devastating turning point in the life of the 8-year-old boy who would later become one of hip-hop's most famous figures. Authorities believe someone drugged Sabrina Jackson, left her unconscious in her apartment, and then turned on the gas before setting the place on fire, meaning her death in 1983 was not natural and not an accident, but a suspected homicide. 50 Cent has said in interviews that someone put something in his mother's drink and then turned on the gas, and the person responsible simply walked away. Despite the suspicious circumstances, no one was ever arrested, charged, or held accountable, and the case remains unsolved more than 40 years later. At the time, 50 Cent was only 8 years old, and losing his mother had a profound impact on his life. Although he later built a public persona as someone tough, unbothered, and often humorous or confrontational online, he has repeatedly admitted that the subject of his mother still affects him deeply. In an interview with The Big Issue, he described the feeling after her death as shock, explaining that when you grow up with only one parent, that person becomes your entire world, your provider, protector, teacher, friend, and disciplinarian, and when they are suddenly gone, the loss feels absolute. In the beginning, he struggled to even understand what had happened. He told Oprah Winfrey that when his grandmother explained that his mother was not coming back, he could not comprehend the finality of death and kept believing she would return. At 8 years old, he was too young to process such a tragedy, and in later conversations, including one with Larry King, he admitted that he never truly dealt with the loss in a healthy way. Instead of therapy or open conversations about his feelings, he internalized the pain and carried it with him as he grew up. After his mother's death, Curtis Jackson went to live with his grandparents, but the loss of Sabrina Jackson permanently changed the direction of his life. By the age of 12, he had already begun dealing drugs while his grandparents believed he was attending after-school programs, even bringing guns and drug money to school. At such a young age, he had stepped into the same street world his mother had been part of, a path many believe was shaped by the void left by her murder. His grandmother, Beulah Jackson, eventually stepped in to raise him and later legally adopted him, something 50 Cent revealed in the VH1 documentary 50 Cent, The Origin of Me. She treated him as if he were her own son, and he has often spoken about how grateful he is for the role she played in his life. However, even in his grandmother's home, there were difficulties. Some of his mother's siblings were still living there, and 50 once recalled that his Aunt Sylvie resented his presence because she had previously been the youngest in the household. He described moments when his grandmother would pause before calling him over with affection, reminding him that while she cared for him deeply, the household dynamics were complicated and sometimes tense. As a result, the only person who consistently made him feel truly wanted was his grandmother. Because of this history, whenever people bring up 50 Cent's mother, they are not just mentioning a name. They are touching on the trauma that shaped his childhood, the murder that changed the course of his life, and the deepest loss he ever experienced. 50 has openly admitted that he still carries that pain, and elements of his early life even inspired the television series Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, which reflects parts of the world he grew up in. In interviews discussing the show, he explained that his mother was everything to him as a child, his protector, his authority figure, and the person he feared and respected the most, and losing her at 8 years old. As the controversy spread, old interview clips of 50 Cent talking about his mother began circulating across the internet again, including emotional moments where he spoke with Oprah about not understanding death as a child and interviews with Larry King where he admitted he never truly processed his grief. People began watching those clips side by side with KingHarris's rant, which made the situation feel even more intense. After all of that, many wondered how 50 Cent, one of hip-hop's most notorious trolls, would respond to a 21-year-old telling him to dig up his deceased mother. On Sunday, February 22nd, 50 responded in a way that surprised many. He simply posted an image of Pepe the Frog on his Instagram. He didn't directly name anyone, but fans immediately assumed it was aimed at KingHarris. The caption was just 3 letters, LOL. There was no long rant, no emotional response, and no back-and-forth argument, just a meme and a short caption. For some people, that reaction was actually more devastating than a direct response because it suggested that King had not gotten under 50's skin. Still, many wondered whether the comments had hurt him privately, considering how openly he has spoken in the past about the pain of losing his mother. Instead of escalating emotionally, 50 continued trolling by posting another frog face image with the same LOL caption and later sharing a video of 2 streamers mocking Tiny Harris's appearance and joking that King looked just like her. While 50 leaned into the meme strategy, T.I. decided to respond in a completely different way, through music. According to reports, T.I. recorded a diss track aimed at 50 Cent in which he accused him of being a snitch and mocked him as someone who acts tough online, but not in real life. The song even referenced alleged prison paperwork, claiming 50's name appeared in it, which directly challenges his long-standing street credibility and pushes the feud into even more serious territory. The Harris family went all in. KingHarris launched personal attacks, T.I. dropped a diss track, and 50 Cent responded with a simple frog meme. What makes this feud so significant is that 50 lost his mother to murder at just 8 years old, a loss he has openly said shaped him, led him to tears in public, and inspired TV shows, yet never fully healed. When KingHarris told 50 to dig up Sabrina Jackson, he targeted the one wound 50 cannot joke about, and while 50's LOL response may have seemed casual, it reflected the resilience his mother instilled in him. Get up, keep moving, and don't let it break you. The internet won't forget this, and neither will 50, as the back and forth between him, King, and T.I. has sparked a new generation of hip-hop feud, following 50's previous clash with Diddy's son, Christian King Combs. This conflict isn't just about verse or Instagram trolling. It's about legacy, family, and the lines that shouldn't be crossed. The feud now exists in fragments of posts, previews, and reactions, showing that in long-running hip-hop rivalries, resolution is less important than endurance. 50 started it by posting a photo of Tiny. King went after the most personal target he could think of, and now both families are dug in. T.I. with diss tracks, King with tombstones, and 50 with frog memes. Beneath the memes and music, the story centers on a man who lost his mother at 8 and never saw justice, a reality that hits harder and lingers longer than any beef, diss track, or Instagram post ever could.